All right, 1992 Nissan Pathfinder body swap. Blah 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 blah. There's like 60 videos on this thing, 60 plus videos now, including a few where I'm about ready to take a nap on this thing. But anyways, I've been challenged, triple dog dared to, excuse me, coffee here. I've been triple dog dared to finish this thing, and challenge accepted. But it's not without its fun moments here. So the video of me taking it down the driveway, it's breaking up, it's running terrible, it's stalling, it smells like gas, it's flooding out, it doesn't want to start. All the wonderful things that make you just want to go, yeah, this thing's awesome. You know, I'd take this across country. Anyways, after a while, it completely stopped trying to start. And I'll post some pictures on Instagram. The spark plugs are all completely fouled. To be expected, it is running rich because of the size of the injectors and everything. But it may also be that they were fouled because for the longest time this thing ran for 15 seconds and shut off because the timing was off. So these plugs were probably pretty hammered by the time we even figured out how to get this thing to run properly. So I pulled plugs 1 and 3 and cylinder 2. If you look closely here, cylinder 1 has carbon right here. Here's cylinder 2. Cylinder 2 is pretty clean. I'll pull these out so you can see them side by side. Cylinder 1 is clearly darker. So it makes me wonder if cylinder 1, 3, because all 1, 3, and 5, this bank right here, they're all like that. Cylinders 2, 4, and 6 are not. Cylinders 2, 4, and 6 look relatively clean compared. So I'm not sure. It's one of those diagnostic things where it's kind of like, it's a guessing game. There's no book on it. So it's a guessing game. I checked to make sure there weren't any loose connections. There were no loose connections. I don't see any fuel leaking. But one of the things I mentioned in the previous video here was that the fuel pressure gauge was near zero, when normally it would hold pressure for weeks at a time. And then it seemed like the video where I drove it down the driveway, it was doing what it normally did at the beginning of the video. The first minute of the video, it was fine. And then I stepped on the gas and revved it up a couple times, and that's when the trouble started. At least that's what it seems like. And it started breaking up and stalling and blowing black smoke, and it was just, it was bad. So maybe it was the straw that broke the camel's back, and these plugs were bad enough to begin with, and that I finally took them to beyond the, you know, where they were happy, and that was the end of it. Or, excuse me, I accidentally inhaled some kidney bean dust from a combine the other day, and it is destroying me. I don't know if anyone's a farmer that follows this channel, but holy moly, it went up my nose, and all I can smell is that now, and it is awful. So I'm suffering. Anyways, back to the story. So this thing would hold fuel pressure for at least a few weeks. I was like actually commenting on it in previous videos where I was like, oh my goodness, this thing's still holding pressure, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, just amazed. But now I noticed yesterday after 24 hours, it had bled down to 0. So I figured maybe we had a stuck injector that was causing this problem. And we may still have stuck injectors that are causing this problem. I am going to pull this rail. Not tonight. I'm running out of daylight here. But look at that. I tried cranking that not more than an hour ago, and it didn't want to even try and start. It putted once, and that was the end of it. That's all I could get. But it had a full 40 pounds of pressure. It's lost all this pressure from the time I stopped cranking it to the time where I'm shooting this video where I've taken the blower off. So that's not cool. And now I've got to figure out why. There's no visual leaks of any kind here, no external leaks. It's got to be an injector that is just sitting here, or could be more than one, or it could be all of them, for all I know. Drooling into the cylinders and causing it to run super rich. It could be cylinders 1, 3, and 5. It could just be one cylinder. Who knows? I won't know until I actually pull the rail. So that's going to be the next part of the puzzle here. So you can see the rail. Oops, I didn't want to rotate the device. So each one of these black plugs is an injector. So this is cylinder 1, 3, and 5. Because Nissan has to be backwards. This is 2, 4, and 6 on the driver's side, which would normally be 1, 3, 5 on the driver's side. This is will throw you for a loop there if you're not paying attention or whatever. But there are some screws that hold the injector rail down. They are hex. There's one right in here, right there. There's 4 or 5 of these things, and then I gotta disconnect and it'll be easy now because there's no fuel pressure. Disconnect the return line, and I should be able to pull these injectors right out and take a look and see who or how many are guilty parties here in this and try and correct it. Because as I said, I would normally just think that it's normal rich behavior if we weren't losing pressure this fast. When I took the hood off this afternoon, which is, as I said, not more than an hour ago, this was reading 30 pounds, 32 pounds in that area, and it had read that overnight. So it didn't lose any pressure overnight. I cranked it, it putted, but the fuel pump had pushed it up to 40 pounds. And then as soon as I realized that it was fruitless to try and start, I stopped cranking it, and now we're down to about 2 pounds. Excuse me. So, it can't be, I mean, it could be the regulator bleeding down. That's always a possibility. But that wouldn't cause the engine to run rich. That wouldn't cause black smoke if the regulator was bleeding down. It would actually cause a lean condition because the pump would be working overtime to try and keep pressure up. The fact that it's holding pressure overnight tells me that the system is sealed, but I don't think it's sealed now. So I don't know. I was told that there might be an O-ring, and it's possible it might be an O-ring on the actual injector body itself that's allowing it to bypass the injector and leak into the cylinder. That's a possibility. I've heard that that's a common occurrence from one of my viewers. That's an avenue I'll explore. We'll see if that's something that can be remedied. I do have a spare set of injectors because I have a backup blower and lower intake set up here. So I'll take a look and compare apples to apples and see what could be going on. The other option would be to put the VG30 injectors back in it and take my chances that it's going to run rich enough to be able to compensate for the boost. I've heard that it won't. I've heard that I should contact Jim Wolf over at Jim Wolf Technology and pick his brain, which I'm sure that he's got a million other people calling to pick his brain. So who am I? Is he going to take the time? I mean, it'd be cool if he did, but I'm pretty sure this is not a tuning issue. I'm sure this is somewhere down the line it is a tuning issue because it is running rich, but I think this is a mechanical problem in the fact that we're losing pressure here. So once I can figure out which injector, it's got to be 1, 3, or 5, because as I showed you in the earlier video here, here's cylinder 1, and that's got a carbon kind of coating here. Here's cylinder 2. Cylinder 2 doesn't look anything like that. Cylinder 2 has got a gray clean color. There's no real carbon deposit in here. So if you pull all these rags out and you look at it, it's dark, light, dark, light, dark, light, dark, all the way through. So cylinders 1, 3, and 5 are showing rich condition. Cylinders 2, 4, and 6 do not look like that. So is that a problem? do we have a problem where the computer is like, I don't know what to do with the passenger side bank, so I'm just going to wig out here, and or, you know, is it one injector, or is it all 3 injectors on this side? I pulled the plugs, and 1, 3, and 5 are definitely way, well, I pulled 1 and 3, I lie. I didn't pull 5. I pulled 1 and 3 and 2. And 1 and 3 are very, very fouled, very black. 2 is fouled, but it is not fouled as much. I don't know if that fouling is a recent occurrence through after we got it running properly, or is it something from a year ago when we started trying to get this thing to run, and it would putt and it would run for 15 seconds and shut off because the timing was off, the throttle position sensor wasn't set up right. Were these plugs cooked to begin with, and they just got more cooked as a result of it running somewhat rich, and me blipping the throttle on that video was enough to go, all right, I'm out, you know, that kind of thing. And the injectors just took, you know, took their final nosedive, and that's what caused it to break up. Definitely was breaking up because of the spark plugs were definitely foul. But which came first, the chicken or the egg? That's the question. Which one was it? So I'm really kind of making this video for my own reference here. I'm not really getting a lot of views here. People must be eating dinner or whatnot, but people can go back and see that I had done a live video, and you can see where I'm at here. So I've replaced the ignition coil, I replaced the mass airflow sensor, and now I've pulled the blower off, and my findings are just what I thought. Everything's fouled. So I guess I'd hate to buy 6 new spark plugs, drop them in, put everything back together, and then have the same thing happen again, and I got to pull the blower again. That would really kind of seal the deal on me being completely frustrated with this equipment and being like, okay, where's the nearest lake? I'm going to dump it. Which I don't want to do, but it's, you know, if it gets you that irritating, you never know. So for anyone that wants to know, this is what a VG33ER looks like without the blower on it. You can see the lower intake, you can see the injectors, and you can see the spark plugs. Yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments, and like, share, and subscribe. Tell your VG33ER friends to check this video out. I'm going to pull the injectors tomorrow and have a look. I'm just running out of sunlight today. It's gone behind the hill, and it's getting chilly out. I've got some food for thought. Thank you very much for tuning in. Take care. Bye-bye.